This meeting is like over a year overdue, and I'm very excited to be able to do this today, although Rebecca has to leave in 15 minutes. I'm not too happy about that, but we have to divide and conquer sometimes. So thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you all for helping to make discipleship at LAMP Ministries possible. This is the Bible study portion, Matthew 28, 19, and 20 says, go and make disciples, right?
Yes.
And
we don't have to go very far when they come to us.
That's right. So this training is intended to kind of equip us for the equipping. If we look at our missional diagram here, this is the equipping the saints section in the bottom, and everything we're talking about is pretty much in these two realms here. Ministries covers our training ground. Well, discipleship is really training grounds. Ministries is men's, women's, kids, marriage couples, all kinds of stuff that is outside of the domain of loving each other and reaching and praising. So we're going to talk a lot about Ministry Safe because that actually touches a lot of areas of what we do in all the quadrants, but especially here. And then I'm going to go into more specific like expectations and tips and tricks for children's ministry, youth ministry, and also for adult discussion groups as well. So let's pray and we'll get started.
Shauna, we're having a meeting.
It's a meeting, go sit down with Trent.
No.
Father God, we lift you up today. We thank you that we have this marvelous team that you have brought together. Lord, I know there is more than just represented here, and Lord, I pray that you would bring more workers as well for this work of discipling. You called us not to make converts, you called us to make disciples, and that's can be a long-term process, and it takes many hands, many voices, many prayers, and that is coming a lot from this group. So Lord, we thank you. Help us to be quick in this time, but also very impactful. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay.
A copy of that, and we got it when
You
we
got
did
it.
our church.
All right.
I have it.
That's kind of annoying.
You gave it to us.
Can I close this without it stopping?
I need the pastor.
Yeah, I think that's still working. Okay.
Oh, hello.
Hey, there's lots of me.
That's
I
fine.
look like the Matrix.
I was.
Hey,
The Matrix. It was the Matrix.
That's one of my favorites.
I am kind of expecting to have some people online, so hopefully they'll join in. But this handout is all the stuff we're going to cover, but we're actually going to start with by going through the Ministry Safe document, which is a standalone document, which I think everybody has already signed. So we are somewhat familiar with this, but we haven't sat and gone through it. So we're going to try to do that quickly and then come back to this page. Like that. Okay, so Ministry Safe is primarily talking about safety with minors, but it's really both directions, right? It's our safety from false accusation, allegations, and it's their safety so that we're not allowing creepers to get into our children. And so it can really be used across all ages. Like even if you're just driving someone, Bob, this is good to think about. Like you wouldn't want someone to say, "Oh, he abused me," when it's just you and an old guy, right? So Ministry Safe can really be applied at all ages. Hey, Megan.
Hey.
Welcome. She needs one of the
Kids.
Oh, this one right here. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey,
You guys can feel free to go in another room, but I didn't turn on any of the...
Y'all can stay here too, as long as you're quiet. It's fine. And it sounds like that'll be fine. All right, so we're first going to talk about discipline policy, and I know this is maybe primarily for kids, but it also applies to youth too. And this is honestly a place where we've kind of varied over time, but we're going to need to come back to a standard. This document, by the way, Rebecca and I helped create this for Wake Up First Assembly a long time ago, and now we are bringing it back, so to speak, for LAMP Ministries.
They still teach it, and I am used as an example. And I'll tell you when we get there which example I am.
So in bold here it says no form of physical discipline is acceptable. I know that I have violated this from time to time, particularly with Landon and Bentley, because they really like to push boundaries. So in the past, I've used push-ups or plank or a little good thump on the arm.
But also Bethany gave us permission to spank them, even though we never spanked them.
But we're going to go back to a no physical discipline policy. So we can verbally redirect. That's moving them away from the trouble, trying to take away distractions, areas of failure. If it does not cease, remove the child from that group. It's okay to isolate. It's just not okay to humiliate. But you can isolate and give them time out. Make sure they understand very clearly what the timeout is for and what the expectation is in the timeout. Stay quiet for 1 minute and then you can be done, right? And then every time they are not quiet, you can say, okay, I'm restarting. And then when the timeout is done, you can say, good job, and now do you remember why you had timeout? And then you can release them back to the group.
So I can't do any more push-ups, right?
You can do push-ups.
Oh, I can do it. Oh, good.
I find it best to put it on my phone so they can see the time, and then they can see when I add a minute. It's pretty obvious what's happening.
That's good.
Providing them a physical area to stay in also helps create a boundary for the timeout, a chair or a spot on the floor or whatever.
No closets.
Don't close them in the closet, no.
Just asking for a friend.
As a rule of thumb, a
Don't
timeout.
tell them that I shoot dead people.
As a rule of thumb, a timeout shouldn't be longer than the number of years. So if they're 3 years old, then 3 minutes, that would be extreme. Monitor the child throughout. Don't just turn your back and go about your way because they may not stay there. And then it's okay to praise them when they do well with their timeout, right? So I'm going to try to move through all this fast because we have a lot to cover tonight and I don't want to be here for 2 hours. But if there are questions or if there is expertise that you want to share, then feel free to share, okay?
Most of the kids are good with the timeouts. I gave a kid a timeout at parents' night out the other night, and another kid sat down next to him because he thought he was in trouble too. So they both took a timeout. I was like, that's fine. So.
And so that raises the question, what if timeout and redirection is not enough, right? Well, the next step is you can ask a coordinator for help, a higher level person, but we're going to jump to calling parents pretty quick. Let the parents deal with it. We're not here necessarily to deal with their discipline problem.
And please don't interrupt the coordinator if they're teaching their own class. If they're available, then fine, but if they're doing their own thing, then y'all got to control your class without us.
And so because we want to be able to contact parents quickly and easily, we have to be sure that we have contact information available wherever the classes are. Either in your phone or in a binder somewhere that is accessible for everybody, or
Planning center.
I think a binder would be great for each class.
it is in Planning Center, but not everybody knows how to access that, so we either need to socialize that or print it, make it available. But printing always goes out of date. It's the
Yeah,
problem.
it's too much for the budget.
All right, so
Need to do ours.
bathroom and supervision. Basically, the main rule of ministry staff is never be alone with the child. That's a pretty easy, or even with a senior, right? Try not to be alone with the senior if you can avoid it.
Try not to be alone with anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone.
Yeah. And so if you are doing something like diapering or escorting to the bathroom, stay in a visible area and make sure that everybody knows, hey, I'm going to go help this child, so that there's accountability. Two-person integrity and accountability is what all this really boils down to. Toilet training, okay. You can help me as we go here. I don't want to read word for word. Basically, we want to monitor the bathroom from the hallway. If we have kids going to the bathroom, the bathroom is the most common place for child-on-child sexual abuse to occur. That's just statistically true.
I, in general, don't let children go more than one at a time, except when we're washing hands, because when we're washing hands, everyone's in there fast and back out fast. But it is an area that we need to be aware of what's going on in there.
So when we send them all to wash up, we should really have somebody monitoring in the hall,
Hallway.
just listening in to make sure that nothing inappropriate is happening.
In our class, usually, we send them one at a time, so.
The one, other one's gotta come back before the next one can go.
Yeah.
I always thought that was because of their playing or messing around.
That
I never
too.
would think of
That
a
too,
child
but it's just
abusing a
not
child.
safe.
That didn't even ever cross my mind.
That's why we're having this meeting.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's,
No, that's-
I
that's something
understand
to
it.
think
And it's
about.
where the cameras help
Because it's
too.
common.
And we do not have
More
cameras
common
in the
than we think.
But you do in the
bathroom.
hallway,
Right,
and that's good.
so that's a privacy area, but we still need to be monitoring that.
All right. Some of this is pretty straightforward, obviously. Don't come intoxicated, don't bring intoxicants, and don't give them to the kids. Okay?
Good idea.
Wow,
Oh,
that
man.
has to be in writing.
Same
It
for,
has to be.
same for tobacco and medication. Don't display nudity,
Oh, right.
not on your clothing either. If you have tattoos with nudity, I prefer they be covered up.
Mhm.
Or just, I guess, something that's coming under by forever like that.
Well, a lot of people
Some
that
people
got
come in
saved,
with that.
Well,
It
you
needs to
gotta
be
remember
said.
where
Yeah.
people come from.
Okay? Transportation, again, don't be alone with the child.
We do have the magnets now. If you're doing something as a church representative, please put a magnet on your car, like especially if you're picking someone up from their house.
because on,
The magnets are over there.
They're on that bookshelf. There's two
Go
of
for your
them.
door,
Yeah, put them on your door, yeah.
just so you know who we are.
Minors should be transported directly to their destination. Or not.
We've had a problem with that rule, so please don't do that. Yes. Someone who hadn't read this packet yet.
All right, try to avoid cell phone use, please, while you're driving. No accidents. All right, parental contact, this just means, of course, we're gonna contact parents anytime an issue arises, so we need to have contact information easily available. If a parent wants to observe or participate in the programming, that's fine, they're welcome to do that. If they want to do that on an ongoing basis, we're gonna have them background checked, so it's just kind of for an evaluation purpose.
What
But
do you consider ongoing?
Yeah.
How many visits?
That's,
I would say more than 2 or 3, probably.
If they're gonna come regularly.
It doesn't take too long to see if they're like that. So physical contact, you know, we want to have appropriate touch with our children and youth. Rebecca, you want
And
to explain
Rebecca?
you want to explain all the physical touch stuff?
I mean, we do the little thing with the kids about once a year, usually before camp season, so, we don't do secrets. There's only good touch, which is the child wants and is appropriate, and there's bad touch, and then there's secrets, which is also bad touch. So they only fall into 2 categories, and if it's bad, then they need to tell somebody, or if you see it, somebody needs to be told. We had CJ whack someone on the butt on the trip. I was like, that's not appropriate, you know what I've said to you before, and he said, I'm sorry, and it didn't happen again. So any place covered by bathing suit should not be touched by anybody else. That's basically what it rolls down to. And even good touch can be bad if the kid doesn't want it. So if someone doesn't want a hug, don't hug them, or ask first, or all that stuff. So that I'm the example of that they use. Becca doesn't want hugs. Not me.
All right, sexually oriented conversations, just don't have them unless it's for educational. Like if it's actually part of the curriculum and we're talking about sexuality, we're talking about, you know, how God designed us, those kind of things, then that's appropriate conversation. But anything that's just, you know, raunchy, racy, that's not okay.
Needs to be shut down.
Yeah, shut down amongst the children and youth as well.
And even with the adults, you guys are our leaders, feel free to shut down someone if they're being inappropriate and say this needs to not be on site. And Joel said it to a kid on a parent's night out that was 5 years older to him the other day. He was like, you shouldn't be talking about that here, there's a church, we're in a church. So, you know, like,
2 years younger than me.
no, he's older than you.
He's 8.
Sleeping arrangements is kind of a special situation that we'll skip over, but it just says to have the sleeping arrangements approved by myself before assuming that y'all can, you know, have a sleepover basically. If there's movies being shown, my rule of thumb is PG is fine for all ages. PG-13 would probably be fine for teenagers. This,
With parent.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, this says with
They can
parent
be bad.
permission, and definitely no R-rated movies.
A lot of PG-13 movies are trashy too.
A lot of
It's
PG
shocking.
movies are,
Yeah, it's bananas.
So no American Sniper?
if we're looking at it for a specific reason.
It's like a docu, but it's a movie.
Staff members and volunteers should not talk to minors in a way that is or could be construed by any reasonable observer as harsh, threatening, intimidating, shaming, derogatory, demeaning, or humiliating. We want to keep our conversations to be encouraging, constructive, and mindful of their mission. Release of children, we want to make sure that we are releasing children back to trusted adults. The adult that dropped them off is assumed to be safe to release to. Anybody else, we need to get permission from the person that dropped them off.
And we have that common, it's a common occurrence for somebody else to come in, but the parent didn't let us know. So
We
then we
always
would need
call
to
'em.
call parent and make sure that is okay for
Never
somebody.
just release.
No.
Does that include like siblings? I know that has
Yes.
always been an issue. Like the sibling will be like, yeah, my mom
Yeah.
told me to come, and you're like,
They
well,
didn't tell me, I
they
need
didn't
to
tell
talk to
me,
them.
and you don't have the little taggy thing, and send your mom back.
Yeah, we don't use tags, but
Yeah.
when that happens, I do call the one that dropped off. And I'm
Okay.
like, yeah, all right, and most of them know now to send me a text, and they say, you know, so-and-so's gonna pick up. It does happen often that some of the girls will be like, hey, I'm gonna go to so-and-so's tonight. Well, your mom didn't tell me, so I need to know before class is over, or your mom's gotta pick you up.
Yeah.
You don't get to just decide that 30 minutes into the class.
Yeah. We have some documented exceptions from connections where we know that these parents are okay with these people taking them home, but otherwise, yeah, we need to make sure we don't make those assumptions.
And if ever the kid seems like they're not comfortable with it, even if the parent told you, I would call the parent. Because I've had weird situations like that.
Okay, this is just example scenarios of having adequate supervision, but if you follow the don't be alone and don't be the only adult with the children, you're gonna be fine. So everybody should have already signed this except for Megan probably, and you have this form. And so you can sign the back copy and leave that with us if you want to go forward with having a background check. Yay, Megan!
Yay, Megan, thank you! I'm gonna have to scoot out. I'm gonna put my admin hat on real fast. Every time we go to a conference, we hear horror stories. And Ministry Safe is meant to protect us, protect you, have the witnesses that are necessary so that we don't get into any type of legalness. And also, we don't want something bad to happen to one of the kids. Like, we love them, we want to take care of them. We want this to be a safe place where they know they're being taken care of, there's boundaries and all that stuff. So I know it's not fun to talk about, and you probably got, if you get the background check, you'll get a training that you have to watch, which is not fun to watch. But we just have to do it. It's just the world we're living in. So thank you for helping us make sure that we're a safe place. This one says something else, but I can't. That's it for now. All right, I gotta go. Y'all have fun. Bye.
Where did you go?
To Hannah's parent meeting.
Oh.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so we've gotten the worst of it out of the way, I guess. Looking now at our little outline of things to talk about tonight. So you've had the Ministry Safe training. Just highlighting some of the points there. We are responsible for protection against the grooming of children and the grooming of gatekeepers. All of us are gatekeepers by the fact that we are taking responsibility for other kids and youth. And grooming is basically when someone comes into our midst that seems innocent, but they are on a very down low basis trying to become very friendly with one or two individuals, and they're grooming them such that they can isolate them, get their trust, and become a predator to them. So we have to be vigilant about that. We have to realize that just as the video training says, there's no profile for a sexual predator. You can't recognize them by looking at them. They come in all sizes and shapes and colors. And so we just have to assume the worst. And that's why we go through trainings, and you know, background checks help, but it's really about being vigilant on site, you know, in the moment. So 90% of abuse comes from trusted adults. That can be uncles, grandparents, you know, friends of parents. Predators seek students on the fringe, especially those with addictions, something to hide, those who are depressed, those who feel like they're social outcasts. Grooming can be showing favor, giving gifts, joking around, horseplay, sharing secrets. All of these things are just to kind of get in good with that child. So, yeah, if y'all have any comments, feel free to share. I'm still trying to move rather quickly, but giving you highlights here. Peer-to-peer sexual abuse is just as big of a deal as adult child sexual abuse. And so, like I said, bathrooms are the #1 place for child sexual abuse to occur. And we have to monitor blind spots. We don't have very good camera coverage here, and even if we did, we wouldn't know it until it's too late, right? And so there's an example in the video training of a playground, and they had monitors stationed around the playground, but there was one area in the middle of the playground that you couldn't see into unless you're at the right angle, and that's where child abuse was happening. So for us, when we have kids out front, we have big blind spots down the alleys, behind the buildings, around the sides of the buildings. And of course, that's not safe, for one, because of lurkers and, you know, other people wandering around, and cars and poison ivy back there. I mean, there's lots of reasons to keep all the kids where you can monitor them and, you know, visually. But also, that's where, you know, Johnny can do something to Sally, and it only takes a minute, you know. So. So try to, you know, we have to be vigilant enough, we have to have enough eyes to know that nobody has gone around the buildings, and they have to know what the expectations are as well. What if a child reports? First of all, if a child comes to you and says, I want to talk, or I have something I want to tell you, you can't promise them any secrets. You can say something like, I would love to talk, I'm here for you, but if you tell me something that might get somebody in trouble, or if somebody might get hurt, then I can't promise to keep that a secret. Okay, so we don't set a false expectation there.
So if they say, hey, so-and-so told me that they were gonna kill themselves, of course, I'm gonna say something, but don't like, oh, well, I'll go talk to him. I promise I'll talk to him first. So it's not like that?
Just tell the person that, you know, if someone's at risk, then you can't keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he's talking about you talking to the person that
Oh.
said that, because I think you should go to the pastor with the information. Any information, we're probably gonna get there. We go to the pastor to tell him. He's just saying that the child, you don't tell the child, I won't tell anybody.
Oh, okay.
You can't make that promise, because you do have to report that. And then you would go to pastor, not the child, am I right?
Right.
Okay,
If there's an immediate risk, stop the immediate risk.
yes.
But yes,
Yeah.
in general, we're talking about going up the chain. And
And
it's,
COC basically, chain of command.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's good to report everything up, even if you don't
Yep.
think that there's much substantial, you know, that it's very likely, because someone else might say something else, you know, to me that, oh, well, those two things kind of add up, you know. So, stay calm. Don't freak out. Don't like get the child scared or, you know, riled up. Just believe them, assure them, comfort them. Definitely don't shame if they've revealed something. Don't ask them, well, why were you doing that? You know, that's your own fault. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, you know, why did you wear that skimpy clothes or whatever? It's like, that's not really the time to make those corrections. This is the mandatory reporting of anything suspicious to senior pastor, myself, and if you know, if I'm not available, then Rebecca's probably a good alternate. Pastor Joe, obviously, whatever coordinator is nearby. So Expectations for teachers and helpers regarding safety, we already mentioned, especially when the kids are playing outside. Traffic is a big deal, especially when we have balls going in the street, and especially in the winter when it's becoming dark. Traffic is one of our big risks really on our facility. Maybe at some point we look at fencing in that grassy area again. It used to be fenced in a long time ago, but right now that grassy area doubles as a nice parking lot. So shady characters, you know, we want to make sure that nobody's getting too close to the kids that isn't supposed to be. Yes.
Do we check backpacks if we don't know the person coming in with a backpack?
No. I mean,
I know it, we did it at another church that we went to. If somebody came in with a backpack, they were saying, sorry, we gotta go through your stuff. And it was right after that shooting happened. And they were being cautious and stuff like that. And if they won't, then they can't come in. I didn't know if we were gonna do anything like that.
well, if we had a safety team, I'd have that conversation with the safety team. But it's unlikely they're going to sneak an AR in a backpack, and they can do lots of damage just with pistols on their belts. So I don't know that a backpack check is really that helpful.
This was also in California, so it's a whole different, nobody had a gun on their belt in California, or was
It was in the
supposed to.
backpack.
It was in the backpack, so that's what I think he's,
Backpacks are
I
holsters.
remember this. Yeah, they were checking big hand, it was ridiculous to me, but.
Safety also, just protection against vulgarities. That can be, you know, visual, that can be audible.
What's audible?
Talking.
For example, if Christy happens to be in one of her spells where she is yelling curse words at the wind, then that would be a time to relocate the children and just, you know, change plans at that point. So, maintain appropriate talk and touch, physical contact. That's, we already talked about between us and them, but that's also between children and youth. We are following the same public display of affection policy that they follow at the high school, which is 0 public display of affection.
Yep.
So I know that can be challenging, but during our scheduled times, I would not want to see people holding hands or kissing or, you know, anything more than a casual hug.
Leave room for Jesus.
Yeah, right. And really, the point there, in my opinion, is to make it comfortable for everybody to be there, you know, so that nobody feels awkward about it. Avoid purpling. This is a phrase I got from Cecilia, which is one man and one woman by themselves alone anywhere. So like taking a ride somewhere or something like that, that would be inappropriate if they were not married, right?
So when picking up people in that situation, we should, like, if Bob's gonna do it, I should just jump in the truck with him if I'm not busy, or another man or something like that, just not to.
Yes.
Because that was a concern that
Yeah, it'd be good whenever we had drivers if we could have 2 people representing the church, right?
Okay.
Going on the route.
I wondered about that.
2-person integrity, we've already talked about, but I don't think we mentioned, they're supposed to be unrelated adults. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna be with a group of kids and there's only 2 adults, we would desire that they are not married or not brother and
You
sister.
never know.
You ditched me.
And then we want to be actively monitoring, not just passively monitoring. Passively monitoring would be like, you know, playing on your phone and maybe keeping an ear out for screaming. And I can tell you I'm guilty of that when you've been here all day long and the sound of the, you know, the kids and the bouncy is droning and whatnot, but that's not the type of monitoring that's going to prevent something from happening. That's only going to, you know, respond to something happening. And so, especially outside, like because of the cars, because of the balls, because of the darkness, because of the alleys, like that's definitely a place to be actively monitoring children, not passively monitoring the children. Does that make sense? All right, so this is kind of like training tips and expectations for starting with adult teachers and helpers. I I didn't talk about coordinators yet, I guess. I should have done that. For the adult discipleship classes, which has been the adult class on Tuesday and the Sunday morning class, we're kind of in an interim status where Rebecca and I have been the coordinators for that time. And we have a couple of helpers, like Chris Sterling and Janet and the Browns, Nathaniel, to help facilitate discussions. For the youth, we have Rebecca as interim youth coordinator, and she has some teachers like Pastor Joe, and we have some helpers as well in the youth. And then for the children, we have Cecilia as the coordinator, and then we have some children teachers and children helpers, and that's all great. That's kind of layered in the sense that like we want to have as many people as possible serving throughout the church, but especially in discipleship. And so the helpers, the description document, like I gave Megan, it's really, really short and simple because there's not a whole lot that we're expecting from the helpers other than just to be that two-person integrity and to help the teacher as needed, right? And so helpers can be anybody who's a regular attender that we kind of know. They don't have to have been here very long, but they don't have to be a partner with the church. Our teachers, because they are teaching doctrine, we want them to be partners that believe as we believe. And so teachers we want to have as partners, and then coordinators we want to have as leaders that recognize leaders within the church. So anyway, adult teachers and helpers, we had previously sent out the training that Practicing the Way provided to be a facilitator, which was actually a really good video, so I linked it here. But the gist of that was to be a facilitator, you don't really need to be an expert on a subject. You're praying for your group, and you're greeting them, you're bringing them together, you're keeping them on track over the course of a conversation, and you're praying at the end. That's kind of what the facilitator role is. You want to get them to start on time and stop on time, especially for those who need to pick up their kids, because when the teachers are done, they're done. And if the adults who have kids are 15, 20 minutes late, then it's kind of like holds everything else up from us kind of closing down, and wrapping up with the kids. So that's the main motivation to stay on time in the adult class. Adult leaders, try not to let a single person dominate the conversation. I know that there are some very talkative adults, but we want everybody to have equal opportunity to participate. And that goes for the other classes as well, for the kids' classes too. But it shouldn't be one person that's really hogging the show the whole time. It should be a shared conversation. If there is a ministry need, like if Carol comes in or Johnny comes in and they're obviously really needing prayer, listen for the Holy Spirit for how long to stay on one bunny trail and wrap that up with a, we'll carry this conversation on later, or can I follow up with you on that, or can we pray about that right now? Pray about it and then get back on topic, right? So that's my suggestion on how to handle, long bunny trails like that. Teachers and helpers in general, we're using the services module of Planning Center. Are all of you familiar with that now? I don't know if everybody's on services yet. You're not, but
I'm not.
I'll teach you how to use it.
we have to like increment our licensing fee every time we add more users to these back-end services. So that's why not everybody might have it yet. But the goal is that in the near future, everybody who's serving will be scheduled via services. And so Rebecca can help get that underway. But there's an app. I like to use the app. Rebecca likes to use the website for Planning Center. You'll receive an invitation to serve as a helper, and you have to either say yes, make it green, or no, make it red, but don't leave it yellow. That's the message we want to convey, is if you leave it yellow, you help nobody, okay? Because we need to know to fill you or not. Yes?
I just got a text, and Rebecca said that she forgot to say that we are mandatory reporters. So if someone confides that there's abuse, that it's mandatory that it's going to be reported, which is good. We should want to do that anyways.
Look, I had that bold right here. But thank you for
Yeah,
reading.
she just texted me. And
All right. We want helpers and teachers to arrive 15 minutes early before they're on duty, right? Or 15 minutes before the scheduled time, they should be on duty. So like 5:45 is really kind of the latest, because even though the kids are just in here eating at 6 o'clock, we want to use that time to engage with the kids ideally. It shouldn't necessarily be all the kids are over here and all the adults are over there. We would like to have adults mingling with the kids, and the ones to be doing that are the ones that are signed up to be helpers and teachers, right?
I already do that.
Good job, I noticed. Thank you, Robert.
Anytime the kids separate, I try to take on one. If there's a group of kids, all of them hang out, I normally go for the stragglers that are small.
Yeah,
Hey, what
exactly.
are you guys doing?
I love to go sit with the stragglers. I do. That's good. Adrian and Abigail need that.
Who?
Adrian and Abigail need that.
And Abby, you know who they are.
Oh, yeah.
If you can't get here at 5:45, that's understandable. Get here as soon as you can. But know that when the kids go outside at 6:20, we have to have 2 adults out there.
Yeah.
When the youth go over there at 6:30, we have to have 2 kids over there, or 2 adults with them over there. Okay? So it's not, I'm going to stay in here and hang out for a while. If you're on duty, you're on duty at 6:20.
And if we're the teacher and helper, we're not on cleaning duty. Like, we leave
Yes.
it and go.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah, you can't be cleaning duty and children duty. Y'all good down there?
We have different apps.
His is under church and mine's under services. What's the name of the?
Services is the app.
It's just the name.
There's
Let
2.
me see. Oh,
I'm gonna need help with my apps, because I have like 3 of them. I don't know.
Earl.
Finally working on Slack.
Services.
That'll be later.
So it would be great though, now that we have a kitchen commander, that she's going to coordinate people to be cleaners, so that we don't have cleaners that are overlapping with helpers. So,
Yeah.
all right, moving right along. We got 20 minutes. We're going to make this no problem. Follow the provided curriculum. Changes should be approved by the coordinator. So the coordinator is the one that selects the curriculum, and they get that approved from Rebecca and myself, and we want to use curriculum that we know is spirit-filled. And when we have a rotation of teachers, it's a lot easier if each teacher is following the curriculum. That way we kind of have a continuity of what's being taught. If you want to teach something different, that's fine, just get it approved by the coordinator. Okay?
Who's the coordinator to use? Rebecca, right?
For the youth is Rebecca. Yeah. Take attendance and share prayer requests. We want to try to track attendance so we can see how effectively we're reaching all the people that we minister to. And we want to share prayer requests because we want to show people that we highly value prayer, right? And so it doesn't make sense to take prayer requests on Tuesday night and then never look at it again or never talk about it again, right?
At this point, we're trying to get the helpers in the class to be the ones to take attendance and share, record and share the prayer requests. That's good.
There could be a whole other module on group dynamics, which is like identifying the behaviors or the personalities of individuals, and then like how do we incorporate all those together. But obviously we don't have time for that. In many curriculum books though, there is a section dedicated to how to lead a group and how to deal with difficult personalities and things like that. So I'm just going to punt on that for now. All right, so a little bit more specific to youth and kids, teachers and helpers. We want to be prepared with an activity prior to coming. You know, youth and kids, they're in school all day long, so it doesn't sound a lot of fun to come back to another like Tuesday night school and sit in an hour-long lecture. And so activities can be fun and or activities can be educational. And when they're both, that's great, right? But even if the activity is just fun and it doesn't really add to the educational value of it, if they are enjoying doing it, then that's a win, okay? We want them to want to come. So be prepared with an activity, and particularly for the younger ages, for the kids, we want that to be an active activity, right? Something that gets them actually their body moving, maybe their heart pumping, so that they are not just sitting on, at the table. be sure that you stay until all the kids and youth have been picked up, and then you're responsible for cleaning up and locking up. Okay, I know that not everybody has a key, but cleanup is part of the job. Okay, doesn't mean you have to necessarily like scrub, but if it looks bad coming in the next day, then it's like behavior management. Oh, that's the discipline policy. We already went over that, so we're good. That's just how to deal with bad behaviors. We want to eliminate distractions and avoid long lectures. So eliminating distractions is just a basic part of communication, right? Like, don't try to talk to someone if you don't have their attention. And if they're distracted by something, deal with that first before trying to teach. Right? So like, for example, I don't know, teaching outside could be really great on some cool evenings. But if there's something happening outside that's a distraction, then that's not, defeats the purpose.
Like the whole typical, hey, there's a cop out, so I'm gonna vacuum my grass and watch. I love those.
Okay. Another way to increase participation and provide opportunities for leadership is to ask for volunteers. The more we can engage the youth in volunteering for whether it be just little tasks or for helping to teach the project, you know, the lesson, that's great. Cecilia's very good at that. Use small group discussions to increase engagement. That's something that we're going to try to do more with the youth and the adults. This starting next week is do more breaking down into small groups and have more discussion, because you know, a big room you can't get a lot of talking in, and then you don't process very much. And then my last little bit here for tips for leading games. Games are, like I said, activities in general are a very important part of leading children and youth. And you want to come through? Yeah. The most important thing about starting a game or teaching a game is to make sure you understand it first, so that you can explain it clearly. And then make sure you have everybody's attention without distractions before explaining it. So if people are not paying attention and they're still making noise and they're moving around, there's no point in trying to explain the game or start the game, because then only some of the people are going to understand it and other people are not going to get it, and then there's frustration. So basically, teach the objective first. Let them know what the objective is to win the game, right? And then whatever little minor rules there are, do a demo run if you need to, and then start playing the game. And then I recommend stopping the game before it starts to decay, right? When people start to lose interest, then their recency effect, their memory of like what that game was like, it's also diminished. And so we want to try to stop activities while it's still on a high, so that they'll ask about it again. Like, oh, that was a fun game, let's play that again. Right? And that makes it easier because you don't have to keep thinking of new games all the time. So I do think that allowing kids to suggest games and teach games is good, but I recommend to talk to them about it first, so that if they can explain it to you such that you understand, then there's a chance of that game being successful. But if they can't explain it to you, then it's not playable yet, okay? Because if they get frustrated, then the game's just going to waffle, and then it'll be like, ah. So that's all I had. I thought that would take way longer.
Good job.
I want to say about our kids, our youth, when we were in New Orleans, I felt like, you know, when you were asking questions or anybody, our kids were willing and able, and they shared and they prayed, and I was really proud and impressed with our youth group. They were really great. And then walking the French Quarter, praying with them, and their bold prayers and praying the word, you know. So I'm really impressed with whatever y'all are doing with the youth. Keep doing it. It's wonderful, and even the smaller ones, there was a few with us. So pretty impressed with these kids here.
Well, our kids have had a lot of missions experience, and also my kids have been going on a lot of outreaches lately. So,
yes.
As well as Aaron and Daniel just starting.
Yes.
So,
Super impressed, sorry.
as far as forms go, We have job description forms for the youth teachers and youth helpers now also, so I'll be handing those out before people leave. But any other questions or comments or suggestions on maybe something I missed or something that you felt could be improved in this training? Was this helpful?
I would like to say for the helpers and the children's, if you get to the point where you're loving it and you'd like to be a teacher, make sure you let us know and we can work on that. Because we're looking to raise up teachers.
We definitely need more teachers across the board. So.
That should be standard.
Yes.
I think this applies. I would like to incorporate some of the youth into the cleaning and some responsibilities in the kitchen. How do I do that when we don't really start until 6:20? Is that something I can do, or what can I?
The youth have traditionally been good helpers with taking out trash and wiping
Yes.
tables and such, so.
It hasn't been super organized.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just grabbing the people that are there, or
Yeah, that's
I
what I
think
kind
she's
of
wanting
want.
to make it organized and what, like on rotation
So it's not
or
the same
something?
kid, Benjamin, taking out the trash every single week, which he faithfully does for me.
So
But you know what I
just
mean?
some insight on that, Denise.
Yeah.
I love to have the kids helping. We purposely carve out about a 30-minute window from 6:30 to 7 where the kids fellowship in there alone. They're not around other kids, we're not doing class, they're just hanging out together. So if we can incorporate that with also a plan of cleaning, which traditionally what we've done is have the kids come in at the end of class and come in and do like trash or wipe or sweep or anything. But if we're gonna do it a little earlier, that's fine, just have that kind of in your back of your mind.
Okay,
We try to preserve that window.
Be
Yeah, I
finished
would
before
like
6:30.
to have like a little schedule, if I could have them for like 10 minutes
Yeah.
and just be structured for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I think that's great. If we have a
Okay.
schedule, we can do 2 by 2. You know, we
Yeah,
can
that's
just
what I
have
was
them
thinking,
like
2
that.
by 2.
For sure.
Okay,
Yeah, we can do that.
so I'll write down what I have in mind and bring that to you. Okay, thank you. And even the same with the kids too.
So I hope that this gives a little bit better idea of expectations as well, just what we're looking for from teachers and helpers. And then, of course, the safety aspect of it is really important too. So thank you all for coming.